Welcome to Rajendra Tandon videos. In this particular session, we take up the remaining shlokas of chapter 3 of Bhagvad Gita. The chapter itself is titled Karma Yoga. Yoga means a rule, a percept, a result of deep and abstract meditation, concentration of the mind, contemplation of the Supreme Spirit. The primary aim of the yoga philosophy is to teach the means by which the human soul may be united with the Supreme and thus secure absolution. In this particular chapter, the emphasis was on doing your duty, karma, activity, but with a rider, that this should be nishkam, without attachment, without waiting for favors. Many such ideas have been given in the preceding chapter, but this particular chapter is exclusively devoted to the yoga of action, karma yoga. In text 21, that is the Shloka 21, Krishna had told Arjuna, the world follows what the noble, the great, the enlightened people do. The Sanskrit saying, Mahajana yen gata sa pantha, follows this principle. Continuing now, Krishna says, look, I am not asking you alone or others alone to indulge in activity. Even I have to do my duty. I am God. I need not perform anything, any activity in the world, but I do. I also perform my prescribed duties. This means, however high and mighty a person might be, he or she will have to do his or her duty. Because all the great have to set an example, and that is what Krishna says in the Shloka 23. I do not want to set a bad example. In the Shloka 24, he says, if he does not set an example, the world would go the wrong way. It would be a path of destruction. It would perish. The entire argument proceeds in a very logical fashion. Krishna continues in the Shloka 25th that one should act for the benefit of others. One should not be selfish. Sakta karmanya vidwanso yatha kurvanti bharata. The wise must act without attachment for the sake of uplifting the world. It's an important instruction. I have given it in Sanskrit as well as a translation. Kuriyat vidwan tatha shakta chi kir sur lok sangraham. You must do what the wise do without attachment to uplift the world. Krishna continues in the Shloka 26th that the wise should be happy in all the prescribed duties. They must act with discipline. And then he brings in another new idea of the three gunas. Don't believe that you are the doer. You are being impelled by the three gunas. Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. Your mind has been built in such a way that it can act in the finest possible fashion with the best of motives, no ulterior motives, or with Rajas, which is keeping an interest in mind, or Tamas, which is the worst possible activity, evil activity of destroying others. He says all of us are moved by one of the three gunas, but the best thing is to be moved by the finest of emotions, the finest of gunas, sattva. Follow the truth. This would be discussed in detail later on in the later shlokas of Gita. And then in the Shloka 30, Krishna lays down a rule which is unique. A human being should perform his duty and hand it over the result to the God. Mai sarvani karmani sannyāsadhyātma chetasa nirashi nirmamo bhutva yuddhasva vigata jvara. Whatever you do, offer it to me as an offering. You are doing it in the service of God. You should act free from desire, self-interest and grief. You should fight, Arjun, because you are a warrior. You should fight because you have to purify your heart. That way you would gain knowledge of yourself. And then Krishna follows this again by advising Arjuna, have full faith in me. You would be released from the results of your karma. Because here the karma that is being asked for is to fight. The positive result of Nishkam Karma Yoga is liberation from the cycle of life and death and from the world, even while living in it. In the Shloka 33, Krishna again repeats that people follow their acquired nature. Do not repress it. But he continues in 34, keep away from raga, dwesha, that is attachment or aversion. Don't be too involved. Do your job well. Work hard to attain success. But don't get deep into attachment. In the Shloka 35 of this chapter, Krishna lays down a belief which has been held to be very important for all the human beings. Shreyana swadharmo vigunah paradharmata swa anushtitat swadharme nidhanam shreya paradharmo bhayavaha. We must act according to one's nature, our nature, even though it looks faulty. Do not indulge in the activities which others have to perform. It is better to die engaged in one's own designated activity, because if you start doing the other's duty, you would attract loss, destruction, ill ease. Swadharme nidhanam shreya. Better to die doing one's duty. Paradharmo bhayabaha. If you do somebody else's duty, if you give up your duty, the consequences would be frightening. Then Arjun puts a question in the 36th shloka. What is it that impels us to act improperly? Krishna replies in 37, Kam, Esh, Krodh, Esh, Rajo, Guna, Samudbhava, Mahashano, Mahapapatma, Vidhyayana, Iha, Verinam. Arjun, what impels us to do wrong is lust, greed, born of Rajoguna. It transforms into anger. It is insatiable, like conflagration. It's injurious to our soul. This is your enemy. Lust, desire. Buddha also said the same thing later on. Then the question comes, how to overcome lust? The word used is kama. How to overcome kama? The inordinate desire, the uncontrollable desire. Krishna says in 39, desire has an appetite which is like fire. It consumes everything else. But there is a way out. Find out where does it reside. It resides in our senses, mind and intelligence. So if you can control your mind, you can control your desire, your lust. Regulate your senses. If you can curb the sensual outlets for kama, you can control the mind and intellect. In 42, Krishna goes further and lays down the senses are the controllers of the sense objects, but the mind is superior to the senses, and the intellect is superior to the mind, the discretion, the pure soul. And over all this is the Atman. So use this to control your thoughts, which run amok, which want to do the wrong things. If you can utilize your consciousness, your discretion, your Atman properly, you can overcome kama, lust. The ending of the chapter is remarkable. Use your intellect to control the mind in order to destroy kama or lust or desire, by whatever name you may call it. I have seen in the course of my meditation that if you concentrate your mind on God, in my case I concentrate on my breath by uttering Om, you can control the thought process. You can eliminate thought from your mind for the time being. That gives you a control over your senses. For that period of time, when one is meditating, all other things just disappear. This is my experience, and you can also experience it the same way. So, to remind you, karma is a part of our being. Karma should be anasakt, without attachment. Nishkam karma. If you want to do a mischief, control it. Your kama, krodh must be controlled by your intellect, by your atman, by controlling the mind. The whole thing is laid down very clearly, step by step, step by step, step by step. Gita is not an empty promise. It tells you a way of life, but it also tells you how to live that way of life, how to improve yourself. Jai Shri Krishna, Jai Shri Krishna, Jai Shri Krishna.